it's time to start packing.
This is our journey. Welcome to the Betancourt's homestead.
And I'm going to be testing the Mylar bags, 7 mil, that come from Pack Fresh USA, because I absolutely love these bags. Yeah, I love these bags. But I want to try their 5-gallon, right? In the 5-gallon bucket. Why do I package Mylar bags 5-gallon in the 5-gallon bucket when the 5-gallon bucket is food safe? Let me show you why. We're also going to be using oxygen absorbers also from them. Food safe 5-gallon buckets have the code HDPE on the bottom of them. Now, I have seen people that just throw their grains in here, pop the O2 absorbers, and put a lid on there and hope that they have a good seal. But the problem is that buckets have some give to them. So if the oxygen absorbers suck in the bucket, it can break the seal on the lid. I would just rather be safer than sorry. So I always use a 5-gallon bag to put my grains in. That way, if the bucket gets compromised in any way, shape, or form, I still have an intact bag. It's kind of like a double layer of protection, kind of like they double wrap this too. Let's go for it. So since I want to keep this grain for a long time, double packing it, right? But packing it double, just in case, is always better than regretting doing it, right? So let's get this going. I love this. Look at how big it is. These are 7 mil, which means 7 mil on both sides. It just makes it really nice. I can put something in there like pastas or whatever on 7 mils and it's not going to puncture my sides. I prefer this thickness. Let's get going. What am I gonna put in these? Let me go get it. Let's package up some hard white wheat, why don't we? That sounds fun, right? It's time to get packing.
Welcome to my dishwasher. That's where you're sitting right now, right? Okay, I know that's kind of strange, but let's get going.
This is where it's like so super easy and simple that you're thinking you're doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong. It is this simple and easy. Put the 5-gallon Mylar bag into the bucket. Make sure you have clean hands. There. That's it. There. And spread it out inside the bottom, and then we're going to open up a thing of berries. This is where you're going to inspect the berries. You're looking for anything that would remotely resemble like a bug, mouse poopings, grains, issues, anything like that. Now this is where if you see something, you're going to want to look a little bit further. I haven't found anything other than some twigs from the actual plant, and that's perfectly normal. But this is why I go with reputable companies that I have dealt with before, because their process of cleaning the grains is superb. Very important. So after that, we're just going to pour it in the bucket. Yes, we're just going to pour it in the bucket. It is that simple. I pour halfway in and then I do the test. The boom. Kind of opens it up right there and you get this whole, like the whole bag is being used now. This bucket's going to hold about 33 pounds. This bag is 25 pounds. So I'm actually going to be using 3 buckets for all 200 pounds. Let's keep going. As you fill one up, move it aside, and start all over again. It's like really so simple, right? Okay. Next bag. I simply want to make sure that my product doesn't have bug larva in there, that by putting the oxygen absorber in, it's going to keep the oxygen out, which means it's going to preserve it longer, and things don't live with no oxygen. Just catch my drift? Like, no oxygen, no life form. That's what we're going to be doing. Carry on! While you're at it, you might as well stock your open container. It's always such a pretty sight. now that we've got them all packed, we're going to have to put the oxygen absorbers in and seal them. That's going to have to be a no distraction job, right? So this is what I've got. They sent me a mini bag sealer. And I just think this is amazing. I think this is amazing. So we're going to try it for the first time. Look at how cute this is. Oh my gosh. You're so cute. You are so adorable. Okay, let's get back to business. Okay, I am new to this, so we are doing this together. Very interesting, very interesting. Let's try it. So it has a little switch here, turns it on and off. You can see the little red light. So we're gonna let it warm up while we talk about why we're storing our wheat berries or our rice and a lot of the things that we store in bulk, like whole oats and stuff, or quick oats or regular oats. Why do I store them in the 5-gallon Mylar bags like this? Because I can fit a heck of a lot more in one container than a whole bunch of 2-gallon or 1-gallon Mylar bags. It's just cost efficient. And as I use this bag, I can just cut it down and reuse it for next year when I'm stocking up. To me, this is more economical. Oh, I'm so excited. Now, oxygen absorbers. What size oxygen absorber would you use for a 5-gallon Mylar bag? I'm gonna use 2,000 cc's. That's just me. I'm going to use 2,000 cc's, and that's actually right here, 2,000 cc's. Also from Pack Fresh. Look at that. And they come individually wrapped. Isn't that awesome? I love that. I love that. Yes. So what's going to happen when this is all heated? I am going to literally seal half the bag. I'm going to stick this guy in, and then I'm going to seal, after I poke out as much of the air as possible, I'm going to seal the other half of the bag. Now let's talk about oxygen absorbers and the oxygen in there. Oxygen actually only takes up 21% of the air, right? Did you know that? I didn't. They actually helped fill me in on this. So this thing eats the oxygen. So it's only going to eat the oxygen. It's not going to eat all the other stuff that's in the air. The remaining stuff in the air is going to be nitrogen and other little small bits of gases. So all I want to make sure is that a little bit of the volume of air that's in there is removed. So did you know that? I didn't know that. I find this stuff highly fascinating. I'm going in. I'm just going to do the very top corner and working my way across. I'll show you when I'm done. Oh my gosh, this little thing is absolutely so amazing. You have to steady hand and hold it at a certain, and just go across like that. If you hold it at an angle, it works perfectly. But I'm at the point now where I need to add my O2 absorber. Push out all the air and seal the rest. It's all sealed. This part is sealed perfect. It's just got a little divot underneath the seal, but it's still sealed. So there you go. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a seal with no crease. Ooh, yes! We need to have a conversation because I just sealed my first Mylar bag with this little guy and it worked beautifully. And I want to tell you guys all that if you ever don't have a way of sealing a Mylar bag, Pack Fresh USA has these really cute mini bag sealers. And I'm like working on 5-gallon bags, which are amazing, 7 mil. They are so amazing. But this little thing is like a game changer. Like, especially if you're like RVing or if you're like van lifing or you live in a little apartment, but you still want to put stuff up, but you don't want to have one of those big impulse sealers and you don't want to hold, you know, a whole bunch of stuff. I was actually using a hair straightener before this, but there was the high and the low and everything, and I could never get the temperature right. This thing is just like one setting. It's like set it and slide it and go. It's like so cool. So let me show you how it works because it's actually really simple. You just open it up and unwrap it, and here it comes. It's got a little switch in here, and that's the on-off switch, right? But I don't know if you really need that because you're just gonna plug it in and go with it, right? Because my bag is so far away, I have to use an extension cord, but really, you just plug it into the wall, make sure that little red light is on, set it down, and prepare your stuff. I am sealing 5-gallon with wheat berries in it. So I'm going to be using 2,000 cc oxygen absorbers, which are also from them, and they are amazing. Just make sure before you that you put it down below the line, like right. And we're just gonna wait. We're waiting for this guy to heat up. I'll be right back with you. It doesn't take long, like literally a minute or two. It doesn't take long at all. This is so amazing. While it's heating up, let me show you what I think is really good. Oh, let me find some. We're gonna go with the other bag. The trick that I have found for using one of these is not to go like this, but to go like this, right? You keep it at an angle and you glide it because you don't want any creases. So if you keep it at an angle, because you can see the little plate right in there, keep it to where it's about an inch on the Mylar bag and keep it at an angle and glide it across. It's not heated up all the way or it would, right? And glide it across. Ooh, it is already starting to seal. So you don't do this because you don't have enough, right? You kind of, you just go like this. Go, and then it seals the whole thing. There you go. Okay, now here's the deal. You pull it taut so that the whole lip of this whole thing is taut and doesn't have any creases in it, right? Push out as much air as you can, and you're just gonna go at this little corner, and you're gonna start it. And at first you're gonna think, oh, it's not doing anything, but as soon as you start it and you get a good flow, it starts sealing. There it goes. And see my angle? I don't know if you can see my angle. You just work slow with it, right? I'm gonna do a little bit more and then I'm gonna slide in that O2 absorber. You don't want any creases. Okay, now, I'm gonna gently open this and you're gonna pull that out and you're gonna slide it in this little opening that I have all the way down to the wheat berries. See? Now, you're gonna push out as much air as you possibly can. Grab the cool little tool. This thing is so fun. It's like, hey, you wanna, like, no, just keep going. And you're gonna keep, let me see if I can get you a better view. You're gonna keep the angle and you're gonna keep going. And it's all in the angle and how fast you're going. I probably go a little bit too fast, but I just go back over it real quick. This is a game changer. Game changer, people. Game changer. This little tiny thing, and it's like really inexpensive. Thank you, PackFresh USA. 1, for sending this to me to try, and 2, for offering a really simple and inexpensive solution for people to seal their Mylar bags. Look at that. It is sealed, people. Label. Don't forget to label. Now you know what I know. This is so cool. It's like a little tiny, maybe it's a cat hair straightener. No, don't do that. Don't do that. I have everything that I need to talk to you about. So, well, almost everything, but we're gonna go with it from here. Great question. I used to store flour, and this is how I would store it. 5-gallon bucket, Mylar bag, 7 mil at least. This is 7 mil at least. This is 7 mil. This is what a 5-gallon Mylar bag looks like. It is amazing quality. And this I get from PackFresh USA, just letting you know. Wine session, not W-I-N-E, W-H-I-N-E. I have like a massive project to do, which means I have to literally package all of that stuff that's over there in 5-gallon buckets with 5-gallon Mylar bags. Normally I would be like so excited to do that. My problem is the bags. If you're PackFresh, please don't watch this because it's kind of embarrassing that I'm saying this, but it needs to be said. People need to know. So hang on, people. You need to see it. I have just gone through my entire stash of Mylar bags and I have found about 20 Mylar bags that are not from PackFresh USA. Here's my problem. These Mylar bags used to be 7 mil, and then all of a sudden I started getting from the same company
ones that were not 7 mil. Like they melted when I sealed them. They're 3.5 mil combined 7 mil. This is what I have figured out because they do not feel beautiful and rugged. You can even hear the difference, like the Pack Fresh ones. Oh, how I wish I lived like right around the corner and I could just go and let me show you. Here's the bags I'm talking about. See? They just... That's the bad bag. This is the Pack Fresh bag. I have been stalling for 2 weeks because I don't want to do this. Because the frustration level when you're working with an inferior product is over the moon. And I love Mylar bags, and they just don't work right. So I am going to sit here and I'm going to use every single one of them, and I'm going to figure out how to get them to seal, and then I'm done with them. I'm like done with them because I want to put my food in something that I can trust. And this, like, look at it, like, look. Oh, let me do it. Let me do a project here. This is the imposter. That's Mr. Mole. Come on, Mr. Mole. Okay. This is Pack Fresh. It's thicker. Like, you literally can feel it. I don't know if it's coming across with you because I got fans everywhere because I'm rendering tallow, but Mylar bags matter. Quality matters. Go for the quality. You will not be sorry. I'm not going to show you how to package these because the frustration level's too high. Wait for the Pack Fresh ones. I put it in here. I actually would open it up, but it's really noisy to open up. So don't do it if you have shift sleep workers and they're like sleeping, don't open up the Mylar bags. Wait until they wake up. And then I just take a large scoop and I scoop the flour into my bag. And then I take a 2000 cc oxygen absorber and I throw it in and then I seal it up. And Pack Fresh actually has little sealers, which are amazing. And I'm going to try one out. And then after I do that, I let it sit for a couple days off to the side in a room just to make sure that it doesn't have any leaks. Like it's done, the oxygen absorbers have done its job, and then it doesn't get all poofy again, right? And then I cap it, label it. I label the lid, I label the side, and I label the back. Why do I label in 3 places? Because if the label comes off in any one of the places, I still have it written on the bag. And then I put it away. But here's the thing. Wheat berries are good for 25 plus years if you store them this same way. Flour is only going to be good for about 5 years. Now, the wheat berry has all of the nutrients and vitamins stuck inside all of these little grains. They dissipate a couple days after you grind them. The flour that you buy in the grocery store, is not going to have as many nutrients as this is going to have. So I have gone strictly to grinding my own as I need. However, I do have some flour on hand because in drop down, losing power, it is nice to have a little bit of pre-ground flour. But I prefer this. So anyways, that's what you get. 5 years for flour, 25 plus years for berries. I hope that helps you. Ask me anything. Let's have fun. You have a great day out there. Now you know what I know. So I ran out of soft white wheat berries, and somebody might has been asking what I do and how I operate out of a 5-gallon bag to keep this secure in here. So I've opened the 5-gallon bag. I removed the oxygen absorber and I threw that away because they're pretty much spent after the first use. And now I am taking my 1/2-gallon mason jars and I am putting everything that was in this bag, and I'm putting it in 1/2-gallon mason jars, and I'll show you how I secure it after I get them all distributed. So this is what I have gotten with that 5-gallon bucket. It actually was a little bit low, so I probably normally would have gotten 2 more full jars, but I got just what I've got here. And I'm gonna pour this and see if it fits inside my container, and I'll just use that Think it'll all fit? Yes! And I'm gonna take these, put a used cap on them, and this guy, and hook this port up and hit accessory. And I'm going to do that to every one of them because it is sucking the air out of them. You can buy little portable machines, like you don't have to spend a ton of money. You can also just put an oxygen absorber. I do that with oxygen absorbers from Pack Fresh. If I did this, I would do 500 cc's if I was doing oxygen absorbers for half-gallon mason jars. So you're going to take this off, take the cap off, and I just test to make sure it's got a seal. And then I put a ring around it. And the reason I put a ring around it on anything that I've dried, stored, that I've sucked all the air out, is because sometimes these do come unsealed. And just for protection, that nothing else can get in there, I do put a really tight lid ring around here. I'm going to do this with all of them. And then I'll put them on the shelf. And these will be the first ones that I use. This is where I turn around and make sure I label. I actually take the labels off of the lid and the bucket and I put them on my jars, and then I write a whole bunch more labels to put them on my jars. That way I know exactly what they are. I also transfer the date, the month, and the year that we packaged it from the box, from the 5-gallon bucket onto the jars. And then I put the jars right back where that 5-gallon bucket was. So I rotate all my buckets, so the next bucket I use is always in the same spot. Then I take these jars, put them exactly where that bucket was. So I don't have to worry about it. I can just go right there, grab all of these buckets, all of these jars, and use these first. Why do I do it this way? Because this way, there's no bugs that can get in here. The 5-gallon bucket is for long-term storage, and I rotate all of my food storage. So when I come around to that bucket that's ready up next to use, I put them in smaller jars. I use these jars because they're easier to manage, right? And then I don't have a whole entire 5-gallon jar, 5-gallon bucket that the bugs can get to. Because, you know, I'm just trying to minimize the amount of food that if a bug was to get in, they could ruin. And really they can't because I have it all contained. So anyways, that's what I've got. Don't forget to label, you guys. I'm going to go back. It's harvest season for us. And we are mad dash into, like, he literally is out there harvesting all the tomatoes right now. Now let me show you what I do with the 5-gallon bucket. I reuse it. So no food ever touched my food grade safe 5-gallon bucket because I used a Mylar bag. What am I going to do with the Mylar bag? I'm going to show you because it's not done yet. It's literally not done yet. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to wash this 5-gallon bag, and then I'm going to leave it out to dry forever until it's like totally thoroughly dry, and then I'm going to lightly fold it up and put it back in my bag, and I'm going to keep using it. I'm going to keep using it until it gets lower and lower and lower, and then I'll make my custom sized bags out of this. Like, don't be afraid to seal it and make your own bags, right? We use all of the stuff. So we had soft white wheat written here. I'm going to grab scissors and I'm just going to cut a nice line because I kind of tore this one. I'm going to cut a nice straight line so I have a good start next time. And then I'm going to wash it. And I'm going to reuse it. I don't know if people would recommend that, but I'm going to reuse it probably for the same thing because I use most of these for grains. So there you go. Until it gets a hole poked in it, can you see all the little indents of the wheat berries? That was one good darn oxygen absorber. Where did I get the oxygen absorbers? I got the oxygen absorbers from Pack Fresh USA. This is one of the bags that I did not get. This is one of the bags that made me search for Pack Fresh USA because it is, it's not really thick. It's not the same quality that they have. Let me just tell you that. So there you go. Don't be afraid to cut your bags down and reuse them. Come on. This is 2023. It's like almost 1930 again, right? How many half-gallon mason jars does it take to package 20 pounds of rice? I'm going to show you. I'm also going to go on a little rant at the end, so if you want to hear that, you can, but no, let me show you. It takes 5.5.
Now, I used my food saver to suck out the oxygen, and this is going to be a short term, so I didn't put any O2 absorbers in, but you totally could for extra protection, like if you're going to keep this long term. I bought this rice because we wanted to play around with making sushi, and this was good rice for making sushi. But I was a little bit perplexed because I've bought rice in 25-pound bags and 50-pound bags, so I'm like not new to buying rice in bulk at all. In fact, I have a whole bunch of jasmine rice sitting over here waiting for me to package next. What was interesting was I usually get 7 jars. And I'm like, I usually get 7 jars per 25 pounds. And then I looked at the pack. 20 pounds. This same exact bag is sold at Costco in 25 pounds. This bag I got at Cash and Carry, 20 pounds. So, I'm not saying that it's shrinkflation or anything, like I really should have been paying attention. Usually I do. Usually I catch it. What I am saying is that when you guys go to buy your rice, check. Because I'm not sure. Here's my question in my brain. Are they shrinking the 25 pounders to 20? And will the 50s become 40s? Or is this just per this store, US chef store, like literally, because Costco still has it on their website as 25. Just my thought. There you go. Oh, and trust me, it was more expensive buying this than it has been in the past, and especially for the jasmine rice, like astronomically more expensive than it was last year when I bought it. Go figure. Yay! Don't forget to label. By the way, 100 pounds of rice fits in 3 Mylar 5-gallon buckets with Mylar bag inserts. Just so that you know, 3, because I'm kind of like trying to come on and tell you guys how much. So if you want to stock jasmine rice, 200 pounds, 3 Mylar buckets, and 3 Mylar bags, and you're good to go. You're good to go. Time to repackage all of the number 10 cans into 5-gallon buckets with Mylar bags. Now, this is what I did. This is how I used to do it. This is not how I've done it for the last 11 years, but this was the very first time that we went and we started getting wheat berries. And you might go, well, why do you have them for so long? I didn't start cooking with wheat berries until last year. And the whole reason I started using the wheat berries was because I read a book that said, it takes some time to learn. And I started thinking to myself, really? Well, if it hits the fan and I have to all of a sudden learn, I'm going to be up a creek and need to know now. So I started opening the cans, grinding the flour, and using it myself and trying to figure it out. I'm so glad I did, because there is a huge learning curve to this. And I realized I had hard red wheat and hard white wheat, but I didn't have any soft wheat. So biscuits and tortillas and cookies, I didn't have the proper flour for those. I also didn't have the proper flour for pasta. So this is why I'm repackaging them. And it's going to be in 5-gallon buckets, which are reusable, Mylar bags, which can't be reused until they get so small you have to throw them away, right? Yeah, it happens. Now, let's see how many I can salvage. Now I'm at the tail end of it. I have 2 containers left. This is my last one that I have to open. And it's actually one that was professionally packed, so it's covered. But I noticed the ones that were professionally packed that I bought already boxed up, because that's the way they sold some of them. We're gonna look at the thing, the tin. It's perfect. Not one of the 12 cans that I had that were professionally packaged at their factory rusted. Not one. The only ones I was having a trouble with were the ones that we did in the store at that time. Now, these last 2, I don't have enough for a full 5-gallon bucket. So this is how I do. When I open a bucket, this is what I put them in. And then I air suck all of the air out of them. So there you go. More details on this, again, on the YouTube. Talk to you guys later. This is most likely going to be a fail video. I have no clue what I'm going to open up inside. Sometimes I am not pleasantly surprised. Sometimes I am pleasantly surprised. So this is a 13-year-old can of hard winter wheat. And I'm going to be very sad if it is rusted all the way through. If it's not rusted all the way through, I'll use it. If it is rusted all the way through, it's probably going to go to the chicken coop. Oh, it's going to be rusted all the way through. Oh, it's a big fail. Let's just keep going. Yep, rusted all the way through. Great. How do I know? 1, it didn't have sealage. And 2, there you go. And this shows me right now that I need to go through and repackage all of my number 10 cans. Because I live in the Pacific Northwest, where number 10 can storing is not ideal. This is why I went away from this can storage. This is what you get when you shop at the Home Storage Center, the LDS Church. They let me go in and package before the FDA told them they couldn't do it anymore. Nice place, nice group of people, but not the way to can things in the Pacific Northwest. Also, this is why you don't store in your garage. Now, I had to store this in a shed for a while. It was insulated and everything, but it still didn't work. And the reason I say not for the Pacific Northwest, because I have friends that stored theirs inside a room in their house, and they were telling me that they were still getting rusting. So, there we go. I'm just gonna sit down and mourn this and make my plan of attack for all the others I have on the shelves, which is a lot.
So I'd like to talk to you guys about food storage and get some feedback.
Oh, Christina Marie, I am hurting for you right now. About 30 years ago, a little over 30 years ago, I had the same thing happen to me. I brought home cat food that had been infected with bugs from a grocery outlet type store, and that caused me a huge loss of food, to the point where I had to have an exterminator come in and literally bomb the house. It was bad. What I've done after that is I have everything is in Tupperware containers. I keep all of my stuff in sealed containers, either mason jars, and I suck out all of the air. I don't like the food saver bags at all. Somebody else, I think maybe you or somebody else asked me about them. They just don't seem to protect the food as well. And I don't necessarily like Mylar bags, although I do use them. But when I do, I use very thick milliliter Mylar bags because pill bugs in my area can chew through the Mylar bags. Let's see, what else can we do? You know what? I would eat them. I ate them when I had a problem in my pastas. I actually keep grain instead of pasta. I have very limited amount of pasta on hand, and I taught myself how to make pasta from scratch with a little cheap pasta machine. So that might be something that you want. You want to have different layers of preps. So yes, you want to have pasta, but you also want to have flour to make pasta, and then you also want to have the wheat berries to grind into flour to make pasta. That's what I do. But, oh goodness, my head is just reeling for you right now. Like, I feel for you because that is a mess. And I know what the mess is. And then I just have to say the funny thing, like Bill Gates and everybody, they want us to eat bugs. Like, they're talking about how we should be eating bugs. So you're just ahead of your time, right? Too early? My husband would say too soon. But I did eat my pasta when it had bugs in it, because when I put them in the water, all the bugs floated to the top, and then I just scooped them out. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. It was 30 years ago. I can't afford to buy new food. Yeah. But if you have chickens, the stuff that's really infested, Chickens would love it. It's a lot of extra protein, and those bugs are a good source of protein. I actually would research to see what the bugs were, to see what their lifespan was, and then I would research the lifespan and see what the most effective way of getting rid of them and keeping them out would be. I hope that helps. Let me know if I need anything else.
If you have never read the book by Yeonomi Parks, In Order to Live, she's a North Korean defector. She's talking about how when they're harvesting rice and they're literally having to count the grains of rice, and when every grain matters, like you can't get caught taking a grain of rice. Having read that book, the first thing that goes through your mind is, wow, those 5 grains of rice mean the world to somebody that's starving. Like, literally. Her whole way she wrote the book, like, what stuck with me in the book was people didn't starve during the winter. They starved in the spring because they had eaten through their whole stock of food during the winter. And they starved after they had planted and they were waiting for the crop to come.